So this week, guys, in grammar, we're going to be focusing on pronoun cases. So this goes along with our L61 standard, just that you can ensure that pronouns are in the proper case. So you've got subjective, objective, and possessive. So first of all, let's watch. We're just going to watch a short portion of this video. I'll have the video in Google Classroom if you want to watch the whole thing. I want you watching and listening with the lenses of, I want to know what pronouns are. I want to be able to tell Mrs. Stratton what they are.
Vocabulary. I know you know nouns, but are you a pro at pronouns? They replace nouns, and I'm sure you've seen pronouns like me, her, you, and we. A pronoun must be in agreement with the word it replaces, the antecedent. Pronouns are a way to make your sentences less repetitive.
If you say Pete got Pete's mirror and Pete looked at Pete, what? That sentence has way too many Pete's. Let's replace some names with pronouns. The names are antecedents, they're about to go down. Pete got his mirror, he looked at himself. Those pronouns are way better, they really help. That line is written in the third part. He got working.
I'm just going to skip ahead real quick here.
There are many pronouns. The one you select must agree with the antecedent you eject. It must agree in gender and number two, and it must agree in point of view.
A pronoun must be in agreement with the word it replaces, the antecedent. Pronouns are a way to make your sentences less repetitive. Repetitive.
All right, so that is just a little bit about pronouns. Like I said, I'll put that whole video in Google Classroom if you want to watch the whole thing. So there's going to be a question real quick. What are pronouns? Just type what you learned from that video real quick, whatever makes sense for you. This is just my check of how we were listening. If you're not exactly correct, it is no big deal. So we learned that pronouns are words that replace nouns. The nouns are the antecedent. The words, I think it used eject, the ones you send out. I'm not using you anymore because my writing will be overwhelming. You have to make sure gender, number, and point of view make sense. So I'm not switching from like first to third person. And then they make our writing easier to understand. That's why we use them. So this is really important. I want you, actually, let's go back. Write this down. I forgot. I'm new to all this. So make sure, pause the video if you need, and write those down. What is true about pronouns? You can do that in a physical notebook, or you can make like a digital doc that are your ELA notes. It's whatever works best for you. You are going to have to show those to me at some point. So you can share the doc with me, or you can upload pictures as we go. But you'll be taking notes during most of the lessons that we do. Okay, so now back to where we were, because this is important too to write down. Pronouns have cases. There's 3 kinds. If I were you, I would put these in the same type of boxes, maybe across your page. So you have subjective, and I'm using red, blue, and green for these. You can color code your notes. You don't have to. They can make them easier to use. So subjective are ones that are used in the subject of a sentence, the person or thing that's doing the action. So blank went to the movies. We could use lots of pronouns in those blank, but it should be, so it might be Mrs. Stratton went to the movies, and we would use she instead of Mrs. Stratton. Objective is used in the predicate of a sentence. It's receiving the action. It's not the one actually doing it. So Mrs. Stratton went to the movies with blank. If I went to the movies with Mrs. Mutzbauer, Mrs. Stratton went to the movies with her. And then possessive shows ownership. The boy did not ask to share her popcorn. That camera is mine. Those pronouns that show ownership. So if you need to pause the video so you can finish jotting those down, you pause the video as you need to. All right, so let's take a look at the different pronouns. You'll see those same colors. And if I were you, I would do these same boxes under the boxes you just put. If you have another way you want to organize it, that's fine. How I would do it is right underneath. So subjective, those ones in red, I, you, we, he, she, they, it. Remember, we can use that sentence that you should have jotted down in your notes. I went to the movies, you went to the movies, we went to the movies, they went to the movies. They all work in that blank. The objective pronouns are the ones that they're not actually doing the action. So Mrs. Stratton went to the movies with blank. They're not the ones actually going to the movies. Well, they kind of are, but not in the sentence. In the sentence, Mrs. Stratton's going to the movies. And then we need what goes in the blank. Mrs. Stratton went to the movies with you, with us, with him, with her, with them. Those all work. Those are your objective pronouns. It would work if a big monster, I went to the movies with it. I don't know why I'm going to the movies with a monster, but that's how it would work in that sentence. And then possessive is that popcorn sentence. The boy did not share my popcorn. The boy did not share your popcorn, our popcorn, his popcorn, her, their, and the monster's popcorn, its popcorn. You'll notice that those possessive ones have different forms, and that's just based on if you're putting the pronoun right before a noun, her popcorn, or if the pronoun's going to go after it. So the popcorn is hers is when you would use that other form of it. My popcorn, the popcorn is mine. Their popcorn, the popcorn is theirs, and so on. Make sure you look at the spelling, especially of your, their, and its. So your is really commonly confused with Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. That means you are. And then there, we all know that there's the three theirs. There's over there, T-H-E-R-E. There's they are, T-H-E-Y, apostrophe R-E. And then there's this there, T-H-E-I-R, the possessive pronoun. Spelling's important on things like that because it changes the meaning. The other one I want you to look at is its. I'm going to be perfectly honest. It took me till last school year to figure this out. I was 35, and it's embarrassing to know when to use the its with the apostrophe and the its without the apostrophe. It's with the apostrophe is it is. Just like you are and they are. The ones with the apostrophe are the contractions. His does not have an apostrophe. Hers does not have an apostrophe. Theirs doesn't. So its doesn't either. It doesn't need an apostrophe because it's a possessive pronoun. All right. So just before we move on from these, it's not a mistake. You might be like, okay, Mrs. Stratton, you have you and you listed and it listed. They can be both. This is like read and read. You have to use the context to decide which one it is. Is it subjective or is it objective? You went to the movies or Mrs. Stratton went to the movies with you. Where is it in your sentence? How is it being used? That might take a little bit of getting used to. The spelling doesn't change on either of them. It's just the context that they're in, whether it's subjective or objective. All right. Why do I want you to care about pronouns? Well, basically, one, because it's an English rule and I'm an English teacher and I want us to follow the English rules. But mainly because using the correct pronoun helps others understand your meaning. When you use the pronouns correctly, your point is clear. It's super cute when preschoolers mess up their pronouns and they say the wrong things, and it's really adorable. It's not so much as we grow up. So we want to get into the good practice of using the correct pronouns and knowing what the correct pronoun is. All right, so now we're going to do a little practice. We're going to have 4 of these practices, one for subjective, objective, possessive, and then a mixed one. Don't freak out. These practices are like what we would do in class if we were, in a normal school year. So you're going to jot down a table in your notes. It's going to look like this. You're going to have one column that says subjective pronoun, and then you're going to have one column that says antecedent. For each sentence, there's a blank. Right now, we're only doing subjectives. So you're going to fill in the blank with a subjective pronoun. And you're going to tell me what antecedent it's replacing. So I did an example for you. On summer break, days seem to run together. Blank go by quickly. Well, the antecedent is days. The days go by quickly. And so for days, I would use they because it's more than one. I can't use it, even though a day is an it. It's not a person. But since it's a group, I use they. So I'll read the sentences in case that helps you. you jot down the answers, and then you're going to be answering these questions. You're going to put your answers in for me here in a minute. So number 2, when Johnny ran down the court, blank tripped. Number 2, I want to know the antecedent and then what pronoun would replace it. Number 3, the weather was so crazy, blank rained 1 minute and the next was bright sunshine. Now notice that pronoun starts a sentence, so it should have a capital letter. We're in 6th grade. We should write with capital letters. My mom drives me bananas. Blank calls me lazy if I sleep until. My husband asked me to. Whoops. My husband asked me to go to the store, but blank didn't want to. Even though COVID has made this year interesting for students and teachers, blank will make it great. Although my kids have a bajillion toys, blank constantly say blank are bored. If it is cold outside, blank should wear a coat. All right, so you're going to put those in the question that's coming up, and then we will see how you did. Excuse me. All right, so how did you do? Check your answers. You've got them right over here. So I'll just read down to make it go more quickly. In your table, you should have had number 1, they, number 2, he, number 3, it, number 4, she, number 5, I, number 6, we, and number 7, they. If you only wrote it once, that's okay. And then the antecedents, number 1, days, number 2, Johnny, number 3, weather, number 4, mom, number 5, me, number 6, students and teachers, and number 7, kids. If there were any of those that confused you, jot a little note next to them, and you can either email me about them or we can talk about them in our group meeting. That way we can clear up any misconceptions. All right. And then just a little note, you and I can be weird sometimes, knowing it feels strange to say, okay, well, I was the antecedent or I was the pronoun. But I is typically the writer or the writer, and then we assume that you is the reader. So that's how that goes. All right, let's practice some more. This time with objective, you're going to set up the same table, objective pronoun instead of subjective. That's the only difference. Antecedent, and you're going to do the same thing. Don't talk to coffee drinkers before they've had their first cup. It can make blank irritated. Who are they referring to? The coffee drinkers. That's the antecedent. And I put the objective pronoun us in there because I'm a coffee drinker. So I'm including myself in that. I'm part of that group. So, all right, you're doing the same thing. Antecedent and pronoun. Number 2, Mary wants to talk to blank about your homework. Number 3, the plate shattered when John dropped blank on the floor. Where are Jill and Sherry? Didn't you invite blank? Number 5, the spider bit blank on my ankle. Number 6, my daughter wanted to go to the movies with friends, but I wouldn't let blank. Number 7, when my son gets in trouble, it can cost blank iPad privileges. And then number 8, most Americans love celebrating the 4th of July. The food and the fireworks make blank happy. All right, so pause video if you need, jot down your answers, then make sure that you put those in the question coming up, and we'll see how you did. All right, so how'd you do? Let's check them. I'll read down again. The pronouns: 1, us; 2, you; 3, it; 4, them; 5, me; 6, her; 7, him; 8, us. And then on the us, it's because the antecedent is Americans, and we're Americans, so it includes us. So on the antecedents, coffee drinkers. Number 2 would be, we'd say the reader. If you just said you, then that's okay. But we talked about like it usually refers to the reader. Number 3, plate. Number 4, Jill and Sherry. Number 5, the speaker, whoever, or you said the writer. If you said I, that's okay too. Daughter. Number 6. Number 7, son. And number 8, Americans. So again, if there were any that you look back and you're like, I don't know why I missed those, star them. We can talk about them. You can email me. You can do office hours. We can in our group meeting, however you want to handle that. But let's make sure we get any misconceptions cleared up. All right, this time we're going to practice with possessive. Same table, possessive pronoun only is the only change. And then antecedent. So I can't stand with when people mess with blank desk. It may look disorganized, but I have a system. So in this one, the desk that I can't stand being messed with is obviously belonging to the speaker. Or so it's my desk. The antecedent is I or the writer speaker. And that's true. My desk is always disorganized, but I do have a system. So it looks disorganized. It's not. Don't mess with it. All right. Fill in the blanks. Tell me the antecedents. Number 2, Jane takes pride in blank outfits. I'll be late getting to the hotel. Blank plane is delayed. Number 4, remember to never judge a book by blank cover. Number 5, Christopher asked me to bring blank lunch to him. Number 6, my family just bought a new home. We love blank new space. Number 7, Mrs. Mutzbauer is such a fun mom. She is always doing fun activities with blank kids. Super true. She puts me to shame. The couple wanted blank wedding day to be as perfect as possible. Pause the video if you need, finish your table, put your answers in, and we'll check and see how you did. All right, let's take a look and see how you did. I'll just read down them again. Number 1, my. Number 2, her. Number 3, my. Number 4, its. Number 5, his. Number 6, our. Number 7, her. Number 8, their. Double check your spelling on those. And then for your antecedents, number 1 was the example. So I, the writer. Number 2, Jane. Number 3, I or the writer. Either one is fine. Number 4, book. Number 5, Christopher. Number 6, my family. Number 7, Mrs. Mutzbauer. And number 8, couple. Just like before, if there were any that you got incorrect and you're super confused as to why they're incorrect, jot it down, make a note, and we can talk about them. Either email me, we can talk about them during our group meeting or office hours, whatever works best for you. All right. Last practice, I promise, and then we'll go over what you need to do. This is just a mixed one. So you've got subjective, objective, and possessive pronouns that could be possible. So in this one, your chart will look just a little different. You're still going to have the pronoun. You're still going to have the antecedent, but I also want you to tell me what type of pronoun it is, and you can abbreviate. I put OB. If you want to put SO or P, that's okay too. However you want to abbreviate makes sense for you. All right. So example, I always rinse the dishes before I put blank in the dishwasher. All right, so no possession here. I'm putting something in the dishwasher, so I'm not going to put a person in. I is not the antecedent. I'm probably putting the dishes in the dishwasher. So dishes is the antecedent. And so I would say before I put them in the dishwasher, and that is an objective pronoun. So you're going to figure out the antecedent, pronoun that replaces it, and tell me what type it is. Number 2, look at this picture of my kids. Blank names are Brooklyn and Wesley. Number 3, we need help at the food drive. Can you help blank? The woman carefully wrote the letter. Blank mailed it the same day. The tall man, who was a thief, stared at the large diamond. Blank had never wanted to steal something so badly. I picked up the magazine my friend asked for. I gave blank to her at dinner. And our neighbors always have nice things. Blank car is the most expensive I've ever seen. Pause if you need to. Fill in your answers and we'll see how you did. All right. So we've got 3 columns to read down this time. All right. Number 1, them. Number 2, their. Check the spelling. Number 3, us. Number 4, she. Number 5, he. Number 6, it. And number 7, its. For the types, number 1 was objective, 2 possessive, 3 objective, 4 subjective, 5 subjective, 6 objective, 7 possessive. And then for the antecedents, number 1, dishes, number 2, kids, number 3, we, number 4, woman, number 5, man, number 6, magazine, and number 7, Bones coffee. Again, any that didn't make sense, you don't know why you missed them, mark them down and we can talk about them. And remember, by miss them, I don't mean like your grades being affected. I mean, you just want to clarify. The grade is just that you answered the questions that you tried. And remember that you can always use those sentence frames from the beginning to help you see if something is objective or subjective, especially on those like you or its. All right, so that's the end of the lesson. Now we need to know what to do with it. So you're going to work through each activity in the document that's found in Google Classroom where you found this video, or where you can find this video, I suppose. Make sure that you follow all the directions, including how to submit, what to do to show completion, and due dates. So for some, you'll have to like take a screenshot and send it to me or upload it. Put it on the document. For some, you just have to record your grade. Remember, the goal is not to get done. I understand you want to get done. I get it. You want to check it off your list, but you've got all week. The goal is to meet the objectives. The goal is to know how to use pronoun cases. Yeah, you can fly through and get it done. It's going to affect your grade. And also, you're just not going to get the content. And we're going to build on this content. So make sure that you're working through it. If you need help, email me with questions, mstratton@rivertonschools.org. Please, please, please email me. Do the extra activities in activity 7. If you've gone through all the activities and you're still struggling, I put a couple extra no red ink and quill things. Those are not requirements. Those are if you need a little bit more help before you do the performance part of it. That's like the bigger part of your grade for this. And then also make sure you have questions ready for your group meeting like we talked about. That's part of what those meetings are for. So, good luck. Please let me know if you need anything, and I'll be looking to see how you're doing. I will see you soon. Bye, guys.